Hello everybody, MakeZodeXer, back at it again to give you another very exciting video. And yes, it was like just a handful of days ago, Nintendo finally managed to drop out that new Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom trailer. And oh freaking shoot, there's a lot to go over in that trailer though, because leading up into that moment, which this is the final trailer we're getting before the launch of the game, people were kind of being some naysayers or whatnot though. They were kind of worried, what is this, was DLC for Breath of the Wild, or is there not enough new stuff up in this game to the point where Nintendo might try to hide back information, hence we didn't get a lot of information on there. And people just kind of naysaying and stuff like that. But there were a few loyal people out there like myself who knew that Anuma was spirit charging this whole entire project for Tears of the Kingdom, and there's no way Nintendo was going to flop this or completely fumble the ball on this one though, because this is going to be one of Nintendo's major releases for this year. It's pretty much going to be the king of all releases from Nintendo side with their first party games though, so I knew they could not fumble the ball on this one though. But in today's video, I just wanted to go through everything I kind of noticed in the trailer. It's not going to be like full-blown analysis, but just a lot of stuff I just want to quickly get my thoughts out there on that. Just talk about the different challenges and different approaches that Nintendo's doing with their marketing and how they've changed the way how they're presenting their information for this thing. Like only 3 trailers and not like a Nintendo Direct that's solely focused on Legend of Zelda. I wasn't necessarily expecting that. And then just everything else in between, the overall hype level and stuff like that, just to kind of get a good feeling of where we're feeling with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But if you haven't already done so, make sure to go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into this video.
Rivers of destruction, here on my command. Rivers of destruction, again and again. Rivers of destruction, here on my command. Rivers of destruction, again and again.
So Nintendo came out one day before they decided to tell us that yes, they're going to do a live stream for the final trailer, the third and final trailer for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That right there kind of took me off guard, because I was expecting maybe we'll get it like some kind of Nintendo Direct that's kind of themed around Tears of the Kingdom. We had this stuff kind of done before in the past. Like we had a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Nintendo Direct, we had a Splatoon 3 dedicated one, and the list goes on and on and on though. But the fact that they're deciding to do a live stream for a trailer that was roughly going to be about 3 minutes-ish or so, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of a different marketing scheme. We know that they've been kind of selective with the kind of information they've been showcasing all for us, because they're kind of weary of, not trying to spoil or give away too much of the game right before the launch though. But we did manage to get those answers to that, of why they kind of held everything off to like the last moment though. And we'll talk about that a little later in the video though. But the approach for this is quite drastically different. And the fact they told us it was going to be about 3 minutes long, I just knew at that point, hey, you might as well buckle in, because this is basically going to be the 2017 equivalent for Breath of the Wild. And to all of those naysayers out there, yes, in this trailer, they went and showed off quite a bit of new stuff outside of the stuff that we managed to get for the 10-minute gameplay focus for Tears of the Kingdom. Because right off the bat, you saw in the trailer, they got the wingsuit, you're kind of ducking in, flying in, dodging around some lasers and stuff like that. You got like these sky challenges, like you saw Link kind of jumping around, acting really floaty and whatnot though, like jumping into like some weird water bubbles and stuff like that. And we already knew that there was going to be a sky level and the surface level though, but they fully showcased off that there is going to be an underground section as well. And if you paid attention to some of the screenshots and stuff like that, because there's also like a dedicated website for Tears of the Kingdom, you can kind of notice how they have some x-axes, y-axes, and z-axes, and it shows at one point where it's like, hey, you're about almost 600, it could be like feet, meters, whatever, underneath the surface. So you can kind of tell that yes, you got sky level, surface level, and underground levels to all add into the mix though. So there is a lot of brand new stuff that you can actually expect in the game, on top of everything to showcase off with the gameplay stuff of how you're able to fuse weapons. And it's almost feel like they got like a crafting system like that. So some really good stuff right there. Now, in terms of the world building, this is something that I kind of wanted to see a little bit more so transition from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. Because while we're going through and playing Breath of the Wild, it kind of felt like the world already was in shambles. We knew that Calamity Ganon tore it all apart like 100 years prior, and Link was trying to, put together the pieces and try to stop Calamity Ganon once and for all though. but it seems like the overall interactions you're able to have with the world are going to have like a greater emphasis on this one, because you can see here in this trailer though where there was one moment where Link was fighting with a whole bunch of villagers against like a lot of different forces underneath Ganon's control. So that was like really interesting to kind of see that. I'm not sure if that was exactly like, it could have been a trailer for all we know, but it could be part of the gameplay. You just never know about that mess though. But then another interesting part was where Link was traveling on his horse, and it looked like he actually crafted together what seemed to be like a carriage. If you kind of paid close a little attention, there was those little green blobs that were kind of like piecing together certain parts of that carriage though. But he's actually pulling some villagers, to and fro, some places, stuff like that, which kind of raises the question, are we actually getting quests up in this game? And it will be really interesting to kind of get those quests to be able to help with the world building in the form of them being able to rebuild, because you can also see in one of the other shots, it seems like they're almost going around and rebuilding Castletown, which we knew it was right in the prior game though. But if we're able to do something like that, that would be really cool, because they have something on that level with Breath of the Wild, how you're able to kind of build your house or help out that one little odd village that's like way out in the middle of nowhere. It'll be great to be able to have like a central hub. You'd be able to do a whole bunch of quests. It might not just be one village. It could be several different villages though. But that's something I would really like to see, and that will help with the world building immensely. Now, the big thing that everybody wants to talk about right here is the big antagonist of this game. We knew in the prior game it was Calamity Ganon, and people were kind of wondering around who would it be this time. Would it be Calamity Ganon once more, or would it be some kind of offshoot of his like persona or whatnot though? But early on in the trailer, I thought for a moment it was gonna be Demise. Like, you saw that dude beef, he turned over the corner like that, and then it flashed off and went to black. And I was like, still feel very confident that might be Demise at some point, because we got introduced to that character in Skyward Sword, and he's at the very beginning of the timeline and whatnot. It would not surprise me if he's actually a factor in the game, but obviously that would be like your late in-game boss if that happened to be the case though. But fast forward a little bit in the trailer though, and yes, we did get confirmation that yes, Ganondorf is making a reappearance here in Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm like, oh shoot, freaking finally. Because if you manage to go and do your little history, the last time we had Ganondorf, Link, and Zelda all in the same game, that's all the way back to Twilight Princess. Obviously, that's excluding your things like Smash Brothers or your things like Hyrule Warriors and stuff like that. You throw out all the side series stuff. Last time we saw those big three in one game was Twilight Princess 17 years ago. Now that's truly saying something. I don't know, it's just the way how he kind of swung his arms like left and right and just let out that big yell, and the voice acting right there. I think they got a good voice actor for Ganondorf too. Like, oh shoot, man. But yeah, that stuff looked really legit right there. And I was like, man, and just seeing some of those early scenes with him though, we can kind of tell that Link is going to have some kind of crazy encounter with Ganondorf at the very beginning of the game. Because remind you, if you go back and look at one of the very first trailers that we got for this game, you saw Link and Zelda, exploring and going underground. And when they went underground, they found like this kind of shell of a body or something like that. And I'm thinking it's at that point somehow Ganondorf kind of revives himself. He grabs onto the Link's Master Sword, he basically degrades it, and now it looks like in the crappy state that it is right now with some of the pictures we saw. Hence, we get revealed that, that's why Link's arm is all kind of banged up and stuff like that. That's all thanks to Ganondorf. I think they take one piece of, information, which I'll go ahead and talk about that here in just a little bit though. But I think Ganondorf takes something from them. It separates Link and Zelda. And I think that's basically how you're going to start off this game right there. You're going to start it off big and bold in a flashy statement like that. And somehow I feel like Link is going to get thrown up in the sky. I don't know how, but I feel like on one of those sky islands, I feel like that's going to be one of your starting places. It's going to make it feel a little different from the Great Plateau. I feel like that's where you're going to get most of your common resource and stuff like that. Your glider and whatnot, and then I think you're gonna fly down to the surface like how we saw at the very beginning of the trailer. At least that's the premise of what I'm thinking and how they're gonna basically set everything up right there though. But yeah, Ganondorf survival, that's gonna be something big and something super epic though, so whole shoot. Now, in terms of the story, the reason why we had not gotten, a lot of information leading up into this point, 1 month before the release of this game, was the fact that there was one thing that was revealed in this trailer, and it brings into focus the whole rhyme and reason of why this game is called Tears of the Kingdom. Because if you look at all these champions, It's some of them that are prior ones and basically new ones that we gotten in comparison to like the old champions we saw in Breath of the Wild though. It seems like everybody's holding on to these little things called tears. And I think that's where most of the power is. And I think once you collect all these tears in some kind of way, whether the tears themselves have some power or maybe they're like keys to unlocking something like to the equivalent of what will be like a divine beast, but I don't think they're going to recycle the divine beast again. You don't want to bring up too many old things for the prior game though, but it's going to be something like either a key or that's a source of power to something greater or something like that. That's going to tip the scales one way or the other between our fight between Link and Zelda versus Ganondorf. And I think that's the main reason why we had not gotten a lot of updates on this game. They were just holding out on us though, and just seeing that one little bit of stuff right there, that was extremely cool right there though. And then obviously we got all of these new champions and stuff. We saw a lot of them in Breath of the Wild, how they were kind of, you know, coming of age and stuff like that. It was interesting how they showed some of them that we've seen before, like Sidon and stuff like that though. But other ones, like one of the Gorons and stuff like that, we didn't see him in the trailer. I think he's still probably in the game though. But if you recognize, Ganondorf seems to have like one of those tears whenever he does his revival or whatnot though. I'm wondering if he manages to like steal one from one of the different champions real quick and early on or something like that. I feel like that's the, you know, the main thing. I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and throw that prediction out there though. But yeah, outside of that, I feel like that's most of my thoughts. It's going to be really interesting the fact that we're not dealing with Calamity Ganon this time. We're dealing with Ganondorf. You know, after so many years, he's finally back. And I always like it whenever it's Ganondorf because it's a little more personal between your interactions with Link and Zelda versus him versus like a strange kind of beast thing like that with like Calamity Ganon. So remind y'all, with Calamity Ganon, that was just his mouth. That was, you know, that was Ganon's just pure malice out there that was doing all of that damage, all that hurt on the land of Hyrule and stuff like that. The fact that he won with just his pure malice, not even just like a personified body, like with a pure will like that, just kind of a crazy out there, just full on malice that just kind of took control over the land and did his work for him whenever he wasn't even personified in an actual body with a will of his actual own. That's saying something right there. Like Ganondorf basically won before he even got resurrected or something like that. That's just saying something right there. So who knows how powerful Ganondorf is going to be in this game, considering what we saw, the destruction, what Calamity Ganon can do, versus now with the power of what Ganondorf can actually do now that he's revived and whatnot. If he gets more of these tears and whatnot, who knows how powerful this dude can actually become though. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of like most of the stuff that I saw within the trailer that I just wanted to kind of get out there and discuss with y'all real quick though. But in terms of the vibe check, I feel like this trailer was the thing that we were missing all this time in the lead up to Tears of the Kingdom though, because it was interesting how we got that first teaser trailer, and some people were kind of questioning why did it take like 6 years for them to be able to develop the game and finally release it, whatnot though. I'm thinking they might have had a hang up in terms of like how they're going to make this game feel so different versus standard Breath of the Wild, because you hate to have two games that are very similar with not a significant difference between there. And I do like the love letter effect that I feel like Anuma saw with Breath of the Wild, because a lot of people were breaking it with the physics and stuff like that. So the fact we're able to go through and craft our own weapons and kind of traverse this world whatever way we kind of seem fit, I think that's just him doing a love letter to the fans. Like, I think they just noticed that and they just implemented that in the game. So it's just little things like that I love to see in this game though. And then overall, I just feel like I was already excited for this game, but now like my hype level is just through the roof right now though. So I'm like, I'm just ready to get this thing in my hand. I literally have the Pro Controller already pre-ordered, already have the Switch carrying case. I also got the limited edition for the thing. And yes, I actually technically pre-ordered the game like 2 or 3 other times just to get some pre-order bonuses like the gold scroll on one side or the wooden plane with GameStop on the other side, or like there's like an art little thing that you get from Best Buy, art picture thing. And I'm like, oh shoot, yeah. So I'm stoked through the roof. This is gonna be the big time release for the month of May, and I just can't wait to get my hands finally on this game though. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below, what all did you think about this trailer? Did it get you hyped? Did it actually answer a lot of questions that you might have been thinking in the back of your mind? Like, now are you fully confident, even though this game is gonna be the most expensive Switch game out there, with it being priced at $70? Do you think it's worth it, or are you using like those game vouchers, so you're technically paying like $50 for it or whatnot though? And then your overall hype, you know, are you hyped to the roof? Or are you ready to get this game, or have you still not seen enough, or will you be waiting for reviews? Y'all just gotta let me know. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of my little discussion over this 3-minute trailer, nearly 4 minutes, for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So if you hadn't already done so, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing in the foreseeable future though. So remember y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.